Thank you, Kate. For the third straight year, the Eastern Road to the Grey Cup goes through here. BMO Field in Toronto, welcome to the Eastern Final, everyone. And the second straight year, it's the Alouettes taking on the Toronto Argonauts, who finished at 16-2, led by their quarterback, Chad Kelly. His first year, Dwayne, as a starter, but he is not shy on big game experience.
No, absolutely not. It's often overlooked how important a role Chad Kelly played in the Toronto Argonauts win in the Grey Cup last year. Handful of snaps, but those came as a critical time. We know his college history, the stage is never too big for this young man. Over on the other side, of course, Cody Fajardo, a guy who started his career as a Grey Cup champion with these Toronto Argonauts, now looking to try and take the Montreal Alouettes to the promised land. They come in riding a 6-game winning streak.
First year as head coach in Montreal. Jason Moss's coaching career started here in Toronto in 2012 with the Argos, who went on to win the Grey Cup that year. The next year, the Montreal Alouettes gave a young coach a chance by the name of Ryan Dinwiddie. Later became their OC, moved on to Calgary. He's been the head coach in Toronto for 3 years. All 3 years, the Eastern nominee for Coach of the Year. The Alouettes won the toss. They have deferred, and so the Argos will get the football first. Trying to get back to the Grey Cup for a second straight year. They are the defending CFL champions up against an Alouettes team that's now won 6 games in a row. Final 5 of the regular season and the big playoff win in Montreal last week over the Hamilton Tiger Cats. David Cote, the kicker for Montreal, to get it started. Who will go to the Grey Cup next week in Hamilton? We begin finding out now. The 2023 Eastern Final is underway. A shorter kick by Cote. It's taken at the 30 by Leaf. Breaks a tackle, goes to the right, and he does well to get up close to the 40 to make way for Chad Kelly. A remarkable season where he had a record of 15-1 as a starter.
Yeah, Chad Kelly, a guy who, as we said, has no fear of the big stage, no hesitation to make the big play. Look for them to try and strike early and set the tone in this ballgame.
It's been a trademark for the Argo offense to score a lot in the first quarter and to strike quickly. It is, as you talk about, a big play team. 3 games against the Alouettes this season. They won all 3. The 2 in Montreal were very close, went down to the wire. The one here, they dominated. Back in week 14, A.J. Ouellette, left side, lots of room. Big first down across midfield with the top running back for the Argos, Ouellette. 3rd in the CFL in rushing, and he had over 1,000 yards this season.
Well, you got to love the message being sent by the Toronto Argonauts. There's no question what they're going to do by the formation. They line up heavy to the left. Big bodies on the field. Of A.J. Ouellette, who led the league this year of 20-plus yards. Big plays through the air, even big plays on the ground from this offense.
Got up over 1,000 in the last game he played, and against Saskatchewan in week 20. Gets it that time, he's going nowhere. Big rookie defensive end, Lawal Uguak, comes in and takes him down as we take a look at the starting offense for the Argos.
Yeah, and this offensive line has been fantastic. Big part of Chad Kelly's success. Dejan Allen at the right tackle was their nominee as most outstanding offensive lineman. Tavares Daniels, one of many potential big play threats, but he's the guy that led the Canadian Football League this year in receptions of 30-plus yards. He had 12 of them.
Lost a yard, 2nd and 11. Kelly out of the gun, waiting to the right. It's complete. It's a first down inside the 40. The drive continues, opening things up. It's Dejan Brissett on the receiving end for Toronto.
Yeah, and what a terrific year Dejan Brissett has had. Former number 2 overall pick. Back in 2020, getting his first opportunity to start for an extended period. He's been fantastic for them on offense. 5 touchdowns through the air for Brissett. Also among their leading special teams tacklers.
Down to the 36. Opening drive Argos. Eastern Final. The fake and the throw to the right. Wide open. Another first down. Demonte Coxie gets in on the act, and he gets it down to the Montreal 6. It'll be a 1st and goal on this first possession for Toronto.
And watch for the patience here from Chad Kelly as he's waiting for the window to open to deliver the ball to Coxie. It looks like he's going to have open receivers He can go short to Brissett in the flat, but he knows Coxie's going to come open, finds that window between two defenders. Drops it in there for an Argo first down deep in Alouette territory.
A year ago in the Eastern Final, the Argos started quickly scoring on an Andrew Harris run in their first possession. Taking the handoff. Off to the right, it's intercepted. Marc-Antoine Dequoy. What a turn of events this is as Kelly can't get him. Dequoy has the pick six to open things up for the Alouettes in this Eastern Final. Touchdown, Montreal.
Series of this football game has shown you the identity of both of these teams. The Toronto Argonauts, explosive offensively, march the ball down there, but a Montreal team that has had a knack for coming up with not just the big play defensively, but putting points on the board defensively. That's Dequoy's third defensive touchdown of the season.
Had the two pick sixes in the regular season. What a spot for his third here in the Eastern Final, just as the Argos were pressing for the end zone in their opening possession. A quick turn, and Cote with the point after try to make it a 7-point lead for the Alouettes. Big play defense. Seen it all year. They knew they'd need something big from their D in this game to have a chance against the Argos. They just got it. We're early. First quarter. The Alouettes defense cashing in at a 7-0 lead.
It's all about the takeaways. Marc-Antoine Dequoy, the leader. This is over the course of the last two seasons. Nobody has done it more than he has now. In this play, your intended receiver was Tommy Neal. Free safety Dequoy, not playing free. He's in man on this one. Doesn't lose him as he runs behind the line of scrimmage. Stays right with him, cuts underneath the route. You see Chad Kelly giving chase, recognizing I am not going to catch this guy. Dequoy, an absolute flyer. Takes that one to the house for the third time in 2023.
So moments after the Alouettes kicked it off to start the game, Cote kicks it off again to Javon Lee. And looking to bring a big one there as he gets it up across the 50 as Dequoy and that defense come right back on the field after that big play to start off that Eastern Final.
Yeah, Dequoy read this beautifully, took a great angle to make a play on the football. You saw he knew Neal is heading towards the flat. He just runs directly underneath. You kind of see this one from Chad Kelly's view a little bit. He's got his eyes to the outside on his intended target. Didn't see Dequoy come formation. Make a rather massive play to open this game.
He made quite an impression. Look at Noel Thorpe, the defensive coordinator, cheering him on. But and the reaction from Chad Kelly too, one he'd like to have back, and he'll have his chance again with the offense back in the field, an injured Alouette on the field. But Dequoy made quite an impression as a rookie in 21 and has progressively gotten better. One of the top safeties, if not #1 in the Canadian Football League this season.
Well, the East Division's most outstanding Canadian, and you were reminded of why right there as we take a look at this Montreal Alouette defense.
Alert, nickel.
Watch for Sean Lemon on that defensive line coming off the edge, but Mustafa Johnson has established himself as one of the best defensive tackles in the Canadian Football League this season. Big East semi for Darnell Sankey, former Stan Peters, former Rough Rider, having an impact here with Montreal. And Wesley Sutton playing that boundary halfback spot. He'll be involved not just in coverage, but also in the blitz game for Montreal.
So here we go, Argo offense again. That's in the hands of Andrew Harris, who has not played since their last meaningful game against Montreal. That was back in week 15. He suffered a knee injury, but Harris has been known to do this before. Despite an injury, come back when it matters most. He made that contribution last year.
Right hash. Hey, we're going rebel right, 61 stick, backside poison Z blood on one. Ready?
The play call from second and 9. And a 7-point hole for Toronto with time. And off to the left, the intended target. Tavares Daniels, but not close. Incomplete. And a 2-and-out for the Argos.
Is respond to adversity. Often coming up with a big play after a bad play or a turnover. Now they're about to put the ball in the hands.
Touchdown. He is explosive. Off the punt by John Haggerty to the right and well placed down at the Alouette 5 for Letcher. Not a lot of room to work with here is the
touchdown pass to Jake Hardy in the fourth quarter of that ball game.
Those runs were big too. 4 carries, 62 yards. They start deep in their own zone inside their 15. Is coming up. Let's take a closer look at that Montreal offense.
Yeah, along the offensive line, the center is Justin Lawrence, who won a Grey Cup with the Toronto Argonauts a year ago. Pierre-Olivier Lestage once again out of the lineup. Philippe got 2 receiving yards here in his sophomore season, despite missing the first 5 games of the year.
Did a big game in the Eastern Final last year with 8 catches, 127 and a touchdown. Second down, off to the right, it's complete. That is
his defender working on a slant. Cody Fajardo puts it on the money to move the sticks. Short, high-efficiency passing game.
Up to the 32 now. Pressure coming, getting it away to Austin Mack. The top receiver for the Alouettes in 2023. And Mack with another.
Up front, great run defender as well as terrific pass rusher. Darius Pickett, the top defensive player in the East and a former Montreal Alouette. And on the back end, Mason Pierce has proven to be and Daniel after the latter was injured and hasn't missed a beat.
Up at the Alouette 43, first carry of the day by William Stanback, and Robbie Smith has him tackled for a loss. On his first carry.
Yeah, keep an eye here on Robbie Smith, the Wilfrid Laurier product. Slices down inside.
Forced by Robbie Smith, one of the Grey Cup heroes a year ago, on William Stanback. And a 2nd and 13 from the Alouette 40. Pressure coming, they've got him. Down he goes, big Sean Oakman coming in to take down Cody Fajardo, one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the Canadian Football League this year, and Montreal will be forced to punt.
Well, watch for Oakman working for getting through Oakman with 6 sacks in the regular season. One of 8 Toronto Argonauts with 6 or more.
Punt return. The leader in the CFL in net punting yardage, Joseph Zima, with a shorter one, but it takes a hop right to the at the 34. Gets a block. Great field position to start their drives. Another case in point. Chad Kelly, another chance to redeem himself after giving up that pick 6. The Argos trail.
He will approach his first playoff game. He talked about the details. I asked him, what will you think about while you're in your locker before the game? Will you think about your journey here and everything you overcame? He said, no, I'll be thinking about every single detail. And he talked about redeeming himself after that pick 6. The one thing Ryan did when he told Chad Kelly this week, don't worry about it. Just be you. Just focus on the details. When I asked Chad Kelly before he walked out today, what are you going to be focusing on? Winning. Rod.
And still nice and early for Kelly and the Argos, down 7 points, Matthew. And we have seen Kelly. One thing about him, he does throw his picks. He has bounced back. See how he does on this 1st and 10 from midfield. That's a quick one over to David Ungerer, who drives it inside the Alouettes territory, inside the Montreal 50.
Ungerer enjoying a breakout season with the Argos this year after coming over from Hamilton. Really cemented his spot in the starting lineup.
Here we go. Fence for X. Rebel right, Z Tornado, 61 Ottawa, backside dagger, T-swing on one. Ready?
Did you get that? Tell me the play.
I know exactly what's coming.
Okay, here we go. Second and 4 now. The Montreal 49 for Kelly. With time. It's hit at the line of scrimmage. Knocked down. Third down coming up. Darnell Sankey. A late addition to that Alouette defense, and what an addition he's been. Big game last week when he had 8 tackles, a couple of sacks, and an interception.
Yeah, watch Sankey coming from the left edge of your screen, trying to time up that blitz. Peter Nicastro has him blocked, but he gets enough penetration and has the awareness to get a hand up there and make a play.
So that's back-to-back 2-and-outs for the Argo offense after the pick 6. This Alouette defense has been doing its job. Big story, high snap. Haggerty does get it away for Letcher. Takes a bounce inside the 10 and a beautiful punt under those circumstances for Haggerty, who had to jump up, bring it down, and get it away. So once again, the Alouettes start deep in their own zone. Well, then that Dequoy pick 6, they lead it 7-0. Montreal leads the Toronto Argonauts 7-0 on an interception for a touchdown by Marc-Antoine Dequoy. Cody Fajardo and the Alouettes offense back on the field inside their 10 to start. Standing at the end, and it's second down coming up.
Yeah, Philpott coming from the bottom of your screen, breaking to the middle of the field. Lets this ball you see get into his shoulder pads. Right up against his body rather than in his hands, and the jarring of Mechie coming downhill to make it the hit.
High of the 20, and that is Tyler Sneed with his second catch. It looks like it might be just enough to move the sticks.
Moving the sticks is critical for Montreal on the heels of a fantastically placed punt from the Argos' John Haggerty that had them backed right up. Special teams, an underrated element, particularly the cover teams. We talk a lot about Javon Leake in the return game, but their cover units have been so good, a big part of field position, which has contributed, in my opinion, to their offensive success.
It is enough for a first down, up to the 19 of the Owls. Faking a standby, dumping it out complete to Austin Mack, who fights for a couple of yards, a second and long coming up. Anthony Calvillo, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the league, and the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach now with his old squad, the Alouettes. As Fajardo calls out the plays. By the way, the last time the Alouettes went to the Grey Cup, Anthony Calvillo was the quarterback. That was back in 2010. They won back-to-back. Been a while. Alouette 21, second and 8, taken down again. Sean Oakman again, and the second sack for the Argonaut defense to force Montreal to kick it away.
Oakman coming from a three-point stance here. Working off the edge. Just looked like he got Christian Matt a little off balance. Work not done.
We have seen some big plays by the defenses so far in this game. 7-point difference. Joseph Zima to punt it from the Alouette end zone. Good position again for the Argos. Javon Leake inside the 50. Down close to the Montreal 45 for Chad Kelly in the offense to come on again. And now, let's take a look at our Coors Light moment of chill on this chillier day. There's Andrew Harris looking forward to getting back in. And we got Tyson Philpott, a little stretch out there. The Owls and the Argos. The toothpick belonging to Wynton McManus, of course, a trademark, and Jason Moss. Little moments before this game. Moments of some intensity and some chilling as well. Coors Light moment of chill before the biggest game of the year so far. Trying to get to the biggest of all next week. A.J. Ouellette breaks it left, gets inside the 40, takes a hit, gets it down around the 36 for the big
rushing season. Picking up right where he left off in that regular season as he bounces this one to the outside for a first down.
He has 3 carries now for 18 yards. Excuse me, 28 yards, the longest of 19. And straight back, driving down towards the 30. What a season by A.J. Ouellette, and resting a lot more in the final third of the season, Dwayne, after the Argos had already clinched. Still put up some pretty impressive numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. And you obviously saw him take a much bigger role this season, even prior to the injury to Andrew Harris. A.J. Ouellette really establishing himself as a Canadian Football League star.
And a couple of touchdowns in the Grey Cup a year ago. He takes that pass. He had a receiving touchdown in the Eastern Final against the Owls last year, and he gets a lot of yardage after contact as he drives it down closer to the 10. And another Argonaut first down as they get a little closer to answering back.
And A.J. after big reception here, swinging out to the right, get him in space. Great job by the receivers. Brissett and Phillips getting out in front to lead the way for their running back. A.J. will now take a little break as Andrew Harris enters to spell him.
So that compliment worked very well in the East Final a year ago between the two. Harris with the ball, his second carry, and tries with a little extra effort to push it down closer to the 6 or 7 yard line. See where they spot the ball here.
Yeah, Harris moving the pile a little bit there.
He wasn't down, he didn't get touched.
Well, that's where the argument is. Did they think he was down early? The Alouettes are arguing the ball should be spotted a few yards back towards the 10. And it looks like the Alouettes are going to win this argument too. So not down around the 6.
9 yard line.
Back up.
We'll take a closer look here at what led to the ruling.
So marking him at the 9, 2nd and 7. Argos looking for their first points of this Eastern Final. Kelly, a look into the end zone with a flag out. It falls incomplete. Closest receivers Cam Phillips. Wait for the flag in the final play of the first quarter. Waiting the word from the referee, Ben Major, and looks to be against the Alouettes.
Offside. Yard penalty. It's still going to be 2nd down, but it's the end of the quarter.
So that first quarter comes to an end. One big play stands out most. When the Argos were driving, Marc-Antoine Dequoy with a pick takes it all the way for the touchdown, and there's your score so far. By the big plays of the Alouettes defense in particular, Dwayne.
Yeah, and obviously the one scoring play of this football game so far. Massive interception return deep in Alouette territory by Marc-Antoine Dequoy. It's been the story of his season, leading the way for that Alouette defense, particularly their secondary.
And now a big test for the Alouette defense because they got to keep the Argos out of the end zone. Chad Kelly and company moving their way down. They still haven't scored, and yet after an offside penalty against Montreal, Dequoy and company are backed in. It's right at the 5 yard line. It's a 2nd down and a couple of yards shy of a first down. We'll be thinking end zone as well here to start this second quarter. Highest scoring team in the first quarter in the regular season was shut out in this playoff game. For how much longer? A.J. Ouellette, and they have him taken down. Lowell Uguak has made a couple of big plays against the run, and Reggie Stubblefield too there to limit the damage by Big Ouellette. So it's a 3rd down coming up.
Yeah, Stubblefield from his nickel linebacker spot. Follows up as Uguak goes low at the line of scrimmage to blow things up.
Big play here on third down. Kelly, they stood him up. He didn't need much. Needed about 1.5 feet, but he did not get much either. See where they spot this ball. What a play this would be for the Montreal Alouette defense if they can force the turnover on downs.
Well, you're not seeing a lot of arguing or calling for measurements.
It is a turnover.
Argonauts. Yeah, no push here whatsoever. It's just red jerseys surging across the line of scrimmage. Tyrese Beverett, Montreal's top defensive player this season, the man who makes the tackle.
Noel Thorpe's defense is the story of this Eastern Final so far. For scoring the points and then preventing them on a third down inside the 5. So they take over Fajardo. And he dumps it off there for Philpott, who gets up across the 10 before he is taken down by Jordan Williams.
I mentioned earlier, Tyson Philpott, a career high in receiving yards for 530 this year through 13 games. He's a guy who about 55% of his receiving yards will come after the catch. Makes him such a valuable weapon in Montreal's offense. They like to control the ball. Cody Fajardo leading the league in completion percentage, that very much by design. Get the ball in the hands of their playmakers and let guys like Tyson Philpott do their thing.
From the Alouette 12 now in a 2nd and 2, and fighting his way through his standback for a first down. It was back in week 14, the last time the Alouettes were here. The only game against the Argos, they weren't even close, and they lost 39-10. Turnover ratio was all in favor of the Argos, 4-0, but it's been a different story so far in this game.
Yeah, the Alouettes came into this game very much knowing what they were up against in the Toronto Argonauts. And one of the first things they said, we got to win that turnover battle. Got to turn that around.
And they have picked up 2 Argo turnovers, 1 for a touchdown, 1 for a big stand right down near their goal line. Stand back again on first down. And there is a Darius Pickett, ex-Alouette. He was in this game a year ago as a member of Montreal. We're signing on as a free agent, and what a great year he's had with the Argos.
Darius Pickett has been a monster for the Toronto Argonauts, over 100 defensive tackles. Argonaut leader in special teams tackles as well, playing that hybrid linebacker position.
2nd and 7. 7-0 Alouettes, 2nd quarter. After a big turnover on downs, Cody Fajardo runs out of time, and he is sacked for the 3rd time in this game. It is Brandon Barlow, who was 2nd behind Falarin Rimolade in sacks on the Argos, who picks up a big one there. So that'll force the Alouettes to kick it from deep in their zone again.
Yeah, Barlow coming from the top of your screen here. Counter move to work to the inside against the tackle McGloster. He comes underneath as Fajardo steps up. Add to his sack tally.
The Argos are down on the board, but they are winning the field position game, as Montreal will have to punt it again from near their end zone for Joseph Zima, but a good trade-off considering the Argos were to scoring the last time they had the ball. And another great punt, Zima, and no choice there for Leak but to take it out of bounds. 3rd sack registered by the Argo D on Cody Fajardo already. Early 2nd quarter, but the Alouettes still have that 7-point lead. CFL Rookie of the Year with Calgary 7 years ago, but never had a 1,000-yard season, Dwayne, until this year, finally breaking through at 1,009.
Yeah, big year for Davaris Daniels, able to stay healthy this season, playing the full year, and just a tremendous connection between he and his quarterback, Chad Kelly. Talked about their knack for hooking up on the big play. 12 30-plus yard receptions on the year for Davaris Daniels.
That's a connection that actually goes back to the Eastern Final a year ago. And they only passed Kelly through. He throws Gives it to David Ungerer down around the 45. That's what I'm talking about. East final a year ago when Kelly came on for McLeod Bethel Thompson. Threw one pass in this game, and Daniels ends up taking, those are from Bethel Thompson. They're part of his big performance, 3 catches, 108. But then, yeah, Kelly comes on and hits him, and he takes it in for the touchdown. That was in the first half. That made it 21-3 at that point, but the Alouettes did come back and make it a game. Here's A.J. Ouellette. Gets it down to around the 40. Remember, Rocket Ismail was a star with the Argos way back in the early 90s, 40. And how about another guy that went to Notre Dame? How about that tweet there from, or X, I should say, from Tavares Daniels?
Yes, Tavares Daniels looking to have a big day today, perhaps channeling the Rocket, who certainly created some great playoff memories, postseason memories. Most notably a Grey Cup punt return touchdown.
That was in Winnipeg in 1991. Matt Dunnigan, Chris Schultz on that team as well as they beat Calgary that year. Rocket Ismail, here's Kelly. Pressure, gets rid of it and completes it just inside the 40. And that is Cam Phillips, who missed much of the final third of the season with a groin injury. Just came back for the final game. Third down coming up, couple of yards shy.
Yeah, Phillips having to come back to help out his quarterback on this one. Ends up short of first down yardage as he's quickly tackled there by the Owls' top rookie, Reggie Stubblefield.
So Boris Beatty is coming on. Beatty had the highest success rate in the field goal department, 94.9 in the regular season. Only 2 misses, and this one put down at the 45 for the first points of this Eastern Final by the Toronto Argonauts. Beatty is good against his old team, and something to show for that possession by the Argos, who have more than 3 times the net offense that the Alouettes do so far, and yet they still do trail. Montreal leading it 7-3, second quarter.
Continuing here inside BMO Field.
Tim Hortons loads of taste. Good contingent here to cheer on the Argos and the Alouettes, and a big play for Austin Mack, and that is broken up down the right sideline on that first down play for Montreal. Their lead down to 4.
Jamal Peters supplying the coverage down the sideline. Great jam there. Kept Mack from getting a clean release on the play. And just running with him, providing enough of a distraction. Not sure if he got a piece of that football. But the Alouettes looking to get something going offensively.
From their 40, it's a 2nd and 10 Montreal. Nearing the halfway point of the second quarter, dumping it off to William Stanback. Head of steam, blockers ahead, big play, first down across midfield. And he is not taken down until he gets to the Toronto 45. Biggest play for William Stanback so far in this East Final.
Yeah, well-timed call on the screen as this one cracked wide open as you'll see Stanback catch the football with the convoy out in front. Christian Matt, Justin Lawrence leading the way.
Gain of 25 yards, 1st and 10 Alouettes. 7-3 lead. Handing off. Doesn't have much to work with for 2 or 3 yards at best.
Stanback, 18 carries, 95 yards last week against Hamilton. Starting to see his workload pick up here.
Mentioned that the Alouettes had fallen behind 21-3 last year in the East Final. Got a touchdown pass to Tyson Philpott from Trevor Harris. And then in the first drive of the second half, Stanback broke open a 52-yard touchdown run to get them right back in the game. He takes it here inside the 40 and down to about the 38. So shy of a first down, a 3rd down and a few yards away as the field goal unit, David Cote, will come on now for Montreal.
A nice job here in space by the weak side linebacker for Toronto, Winton McManus. The stand-back makes the catch, tries to juke. But McManus, not just with the lunge, but wrapping up to bring down the Alouette running back.
David Cote hit on only 75% of his kicks, the longest being 51 during the regular season, but he was 4 for 4, the longest of 40 last week against Hamilton. This to restore the 7-point lead put down by Joseph Zima, and it is put through by Cote, who stays perfect in the postseason here for the Alouettes. 3 big points. Halfway through, under 6 minutes to go until halftime. It's still
trying to change his feelings about these kind of matchups, though, with the way that D has played so far today.
A.J. Alouette breaks right and then cuts up. Reggie Stubblefield is the one that turned him up after he picked up just a few yards for Alouette. A second down coming up. Charlene and Kevin, the parents of Chad Kelly. I mentioned many times, I'm sure you know, Kevin's brother Jim Kelly, the great with the Buffalo Bills, went to a game earlier this season to watch his nephew play.
No, Bomber 51 hot, or 50 hot. Go! Green 18, 50 hot! Go! Blue 18, 50 hot!
On the snap, 4-man rush. Kelly steps up in the 2nd and 7. No. Incomplete, intended for Daniels.
I'll be surprised if there's not a challenge on this one. It looked like contact came a split second early here.
From Wesley Sutton, no flags out on the field.
Daniels looks like he's looking up at the big screen. And
there you go.
Admittedly, probably closer than I initially thought, but certainly appeared that Sutton was in a little bit early, wrapping up the receiver.
Ryan Dinwiddie, 0 for 7, as you can see.
Last play, they believe there should have been pass interference. The play will be reviewed.
A dubious note on the record, an otherwise stellar one for Dinwiddie. A 16-2 season, but the only CFL head coach without a victory in the challenge department and trying for one here in the Eastern Final. Have another look.
And you'll see kind of an outside move back in. Sutton coming down to cover Varus Daniels.
So command center giving this a good look. And what would make a difference between a first down for the Argos or having to punt it away? It would be 3rd and 7.
And, you know, I think the thing that may get Sutton in trouble here is, as you see, he's got the receiver's arms wrapped up just as that ball is approaching. But we will await the official call.
Just under 5 minutes to go until halftime, and awaiting word from the command center on whether this is defensive pass interference against Wesley Sutton and Tavares Daniels that could extend an Argo drive with them trailing by a touchdown. And we do see the offense of the Argos going back on the field and the punting team coming off. And so, anticipating that, the decision now announced by the referee, Ben Major.
Upon further review, the rolling on the field is overturned. We have pass interference. Montreal number 39. This is the first down for Toronto. 49-yard line.
Montreal side. The first time Ryan Dinwiddie's won a challenge. It's a pretty timely one here in the first half of the Eastern Final, and his team trailing. Inside the Alouette 50 now at the 49 at a first down. Kelly handing off to a left. Pass him room. He found a hole, and he runs into his teammate Peter Nicastro, but a good gain on first down on the ground to set up a second and short.
Yeah, we've certainly seen Ouellette with a couple of bigger runs in this football game, but the Argos
Stay alive.
very
Left
consistently
pass. Left pass. Here we go. We're going.
earning
we're going
positive
punch,
yardage
right,
on the ground game.
Flush or wrap on one. Ready?
The biggest story of this game easily so far is the Alouette defense, accounting for a touchdown and a big stand near their goal line, forcing another turnover. Back to Ouellette on the second down, and he dives through to about the 40. He is shy of a first down. He was about 4 yards shy, picked up 3 of them. So another big third down coming up. They work tempo quickly over with Kelly. And once again up front. The Alouette defense is not giving much. He needed a yard. See where they spot the football.
No hesitation from the Argos despite the turnover in the last third and short situation to go for it here.
Ben Major is asking for the sticks to come in, and a close measurement coming up here. Could this be another turnover on downs? It is that close. Yes, it is. How about that Alouette defense? They do it again. First down, Montreal. And a frustrating day continues for Kelly and that Argonaut offense.
And 2 stops on third and short with their regular offense on the field. Chad Kelly running the football. You see Sankey coming over the top. But stopped twice in this football game. You wonder how this is now going to affect decision making for the Argos going forward in the ball game.
Front and center, Sankey and Lemon, 2 key additions during this season. General Manager Danny Machocha and Jason Moss. The first down Alouettes with a 7-point lead as halftime gets closer. On that quick one, Duke Philpott, he gets over 5 and closer to midfield. Whistle blows in at exactly 3 minutes to go until halftime. The warning has been given. First given by the Alouettes that they're not going down easily. They have the lead in this ticket to get to the Grey Cup.
We've got Jim Barker. We've got Bo Levi Mitchell. Who else is coming on the panel? Is Pinball here yet?
Pinball. He's running up here. He's on his way. He's getting uniformly late. He's going to be late.
Who isn't on the panel today? Everybody's there. Everybody's there, and they got everything to talk about already with what's gone on in this game. Blitz coming from Toronto on that second down and 3. Looking to quickly work to Austin Mack, who has the catch, and a first down for the Alouettes. What an impressive first half by Montreal.
Well, the Alouettes did what they had to do early in this football game. The Argos looked to jump on them early. They withstood that and turned it back on them. The defensive touchdown.
Up to the 52. 2:35 on the clock. Fajardo back to pass. He gets it to the fullback. James Taku runs into a wall. Winton McManus just across midfield. So second down after that short pickup by Tuck.
So many storylines with this Montreal Alouettes team this season, but certainly one of them has been the rise of Austin Mack in this receiving core. He and Tyler Sneed, a couple of guys kind of buried on the depth chart coming into camp, but with injuries to veteran players like Reggie White, Greg Ellingson, opportunity was there, and these guys absolutely grasped it.
Tuck actually got 5, so second and 5 and no. He can't hang on that time. Bit outside for him as he's reaching down, but it falls incomplete. Third and 5, and Joseph Zima will come on.
Keep an eye on Cody tail end of this one as he got up limping, that right knee. Crashed into as his center, Justin Lawrence, was knocked back.
Zima standing inside the Alouette 45 to get this one away. Out of bounds, and the Argos will start deep. Well, part of that Toronto defense had a big day. Sean Oakman has picked up a couple of sacks in this one so far in this first half. He's been a big presence up front. Let's go back to Matthew.
Yeah, big presence, maybe because it's a big meal that happened earlier this week. Sean Oakman invited the defensive line over to his house on the bye week and cooked them meat, macaroni pie, greens, and Robbie Smith told me it was just for us. The message was, let's stick together. We're going to eat together. We're going to be successful together. And I asked him, really, did you invite anybody else? Was there invitations thrown out? He said, no. The defensive line, just us. Guys.
I'm sure they could eat for a few more, too, Matthew. That's David Undera on the catch. The run afterwards and close to a first down. And it would be a big one, too, for the Argos, who are not used to starting so deep near their own zone. But I imagine that D-line can put it away.
Well, and yeah, and I'm thinking if Sean Oakman says you're not invited, you don't crash the party.
No, sir, I don't believe I would.
Backside cross stage, deep cross, T-swing on one. Ready?
As the defense takes a rest, the Argo offense under 2 minutes to go until halftime. Just across their 15, Kelly off to the right and complete. And that's Tavares Daniels. And another first down.
Yeah, the Argos doing a nice job here, eating up a little bit of real estate after a terrific punt by Jonathan Zima to an attempt to pin them deep, starting inside their 5-yard line. Just shy of the first down there is Daniels.
Go! Play team!
First catch, Daniels will let the ball carrier. And a couple of yards. Didn't need much in a 2nd and 1 to pick up that first down late in this first half. Well, Oakman and the Argo defense has been very good for the most part, but so too is Montreal's D. Big reason why the Alouettes are leading this game and have been most of the way. The pick 6 by Duquois was on the first Argonaut possession. The East nominee for most outstanding Canadian, an all-star in his 3rd year from the Montreal Canada program. Kelly. 2nd down. Quite. Down around the 20, reaching for it was Daniels. But it's incomplete and the Argos will punt.
Well, Chad Kelly feeling a little bit of pressure in the pocket, steps up, realizes he's got Daniels headed down the middle of the field. Just puts it up. But just beyond the fingertips of his favorite target.
John Haggerty has been doing an excellent job preventing James Letcher from doing any damage, putting it off near the sidelines. A shorter punt, and it hits an Argo. Darius Pickett, a flag comes out. And falling on it is Kabian Ento.
Just see the tail end of that previous play. I think that one grazed the fingertips of Tavares Daniels.
No yards. Toronto number 6.
And then this was on the punt by Haggerty, a shorter punt with a Darius Pickett going down, and it came in behind him and hit him. He wasn't looking, and hence the no yards penalty. And 15 more yards tacked on. Still plenty of time for the Alouettes.
No yards. Toronto number 6. It's only a 5-yard penalty. It's going to be first down for Montreal.
Check that. Only 5 in that situation.
Darius Pickett, no surprise to see him as the first Argonaut downfield. Their leading defensive and special teams tackler this season.
who was mentioned, knows this game from both sides. With the outer at BMO in the Eastern. From the Montreal 53, still 1:15 in the clock until halftime. And Fajardo takes off and slides. As mentioned, he had 4 carries for 62 yards last week against Hamilton, and he's saying at that point, "Where's my flag? I was sliding."
You got to appreciate the element of surprise on this play call for Montreal after Cody Fajardo limped off the field at the conclusion of their last offensive series.
Jordan Williams coming in, and Fajardo thought that should have been a penalty. It is not, and it is after the 6-yard carry, a 2nd and 4 at the Argo 51. Under a minute to go to halftime. Looking off to the left, intercepted. Tavares McFadden. That's what the Argo defense needed. Toronto takes one away from the Alouettes. Still 46 seconds to go until halftime.
A turnover that from a Montreal perspective makes you absolutely cringe. You saw Sneed lose his footing a little bit as he made the break, but Tavares McFadden all over this one. 2 interceptions in the regular season for the Florida State product. A massive one here with a chance to put points on the board late in the half.
46 seconds to go to halftime. Suddenly the Argos looking for points. Sean Lemon forces the fumble, and it goes right back to the Alouettes. Darnell Sankey has it. You could see as it developed as Kelly was running and Lemon was closing in.
Well, we've talked in this game about things that are textbook Montreal Alouettes defense. Marc-Antoine Dequoy interception that goes for a touchdown. How about Sean Lemon with the sack and strip, turning over the football, coming from the top of your screen on this rush from his defensive end position, and he just keeps coming all the way around the outside as Kelly starts to scramble, and very clearly going for the ball first to get the rock back for his team. Huge play by Sean Lemon. This is why he's an Alouette.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
Remember Sean Lemon last week to Matthew Shinetti and asked about what quarterback he'd be facing. He said, "I'll sack them both." Matthew Shields and Bo Levi Mitchell. He did. And what he did there was force the 4th Argonaut turnover in this first half. The team that far and away led the CFL in turnover ratio. So now the Alouettes again with a chance. 38 on the clock. In the Argo zone, Fajardo goes back a couple of yards, though. Tried the quarterback draw. He had no room. Sean Oakman, he's had a good half of that Argo defense. In there again, the veteran Lemon. Another look, and Wayne, you could just see it coming. It was
sure could. Closing, watch the right arm. Just as Kelly draws his arm back to throw that football, Sean Lemon comes up with the strip.
Still inside their zone. 2nd and 15. More pressure. 9 seconds on the clock and way out of field goal range now. Another sack. Valerian Arimalotti in there in that Argo defensive front. Brandon Barlow.
Arimalotti coming from the bottom of your screen. Gets low. Barlow from the other side. As they combine to bring down the Alouette QB. As you said, well out of field goal range, but given the way things looked for the Alouettes a few minutes ago after the McFadden interception, I suspect that they'll take this ending to the first half quite happily.
Well, you see Jason Moss shaking his head, but overall, he has to be at the very least okay with the way these first 30 minutes have gone. As Fajardo puts it down, and the Montreal Alouettes, yes, 11-6 7 in the regular season, but up against a 16-2 team they haven't beaten. Ray started right at the beginning with Marc-Antoine Dubois, but this was late in the half against Winnipeg. You mentioned the 3 that he had. There was one of them, the biggest one coming in this game today.
Yeah, this has been, as I said, one of the themes of the season for the Montreal Alouettes. Dubois, the East Division most outstanding Canadian finalist, just doing what he's done all year, coming up with massive plays.
Toronto in a situation. Coach Ryan Dinwiddie now with Matthew Shinetti.
Ryan, I imagine the most disappointing fact of that first half may not be the score, but the turnovers. How do you want to correct that in the second half?
Yeah, no doubt. We got to take care of the football. You know, Chad doesn't have to make every. You know, it's never going to be easy. We got to handle adversity.
What was the vibe in the locker room? Your defensive line is certainly keeping you in this game.
Yeah, defense is keeping us in the game. We told them that. We got to have the same effort in the second half, but offensively we got to pick it up. But the vibe was great, guys. We got 30 minutes.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, man.
Well, consider this as observed by our stat. That's a high for them this season, by the way, the 4 times they've turned over the football.
Yeah, it's somewhat remarkable. And, you know, looking at these two teams' records, leading at halftime, Montreal very good when in this position. Having lost every game this season against teams that had better records than them.
They came in red hot, 6 straight wins into this Eastern final. The Alouettes start the second half with the lead in the hands of James Letcher. It gets thrown down by Jonathan Jones, and on comes Cody Fajardo. After a first half that saw him go 11 for 15 for 98 yards and 1 interception.
Under constant pressure from that Toronto Argonaut defensive line. Sean Oakman led the way with a couple of sacks. Brandon Barlow certainly.
Half underway. 4 receivers to the right. Running left is William Standback. He had 1 big play in a screen pass, but taken down by Jordan Williams, and the Argo D has done a pretty good job on number 31 as well.
And I look at the last play call where they've got Williams to drop his shoulder on people.
30 yards receiving, only 4 though on the ground for Standback at a 2nd and 9 after a gain of 1. Here's Fajardo. He's standing in and he's taking off, and he takes
Alouettes as they approach midfield here. They want to go for it, maintain possession of this football, keep Chad Kelly in the Argonaut offense.
the backup QB, the short yardage quarterback, has come on for the Alouettes.
Yeah, it's not a gimme here. This is a big call.
And remember, too,
just heard Caleb Evans yell to the guys around him, it might be punt, and it is, as they see the spot. Don't want to give the Argos any momentum. Good decision here for Jason Moss.
So instead, on to kick it away inside the Alouette 35. And Javon Leach, the lone returner back for the Argos. Putting it to the right. A one-score game. The Argos are down. Chad Kelly. Turnovers really hurting the Argos, starting with that one at the start of the game.
Yeah, and to me, that was the play that set the tone here, because I think even as you look at the other turnovers, the Argos had momentum. For as much as people may want to say they're flat, they weren't ready to play, having not had meaningful games for the last month and a half. The fact is, the Argos roared down the field. I think the
And great work again up front by the Alouettes. Yeah, the next two possessions after the pick six. Yeah, those third down gambles that turned out going Montreal's way.
Yeah, and big
Alouette football, Reggie Stubblefield with it. And the Argos have just turned over the football for the 5th time in this game.
comes up with one in scoring position. And there's the man of the moment, Reggie Stubblefield. Huge interception here. You're going to see him right on the very right edge of your screen. Just coming into the shot. Going to move out to work, but he's reading the eyes of the quarterback. Quarterback is following Brissett on that route, curling to the inside. That's why Stubblefield moves back in and comes underneath that one. But he thought, Chad Kelly thought Stubblefield had already been.
The Montreal offense to do something with what the defense has given them. There's Tyson Philpott and a first down right out of the gate inside the Toronto 15. A lot of talk in the studio about, yes, Alouette defense has been great.
Position provided by that last interception, as we were just talking about the Alouettes getting those turnovers deep in their own end. Those big because they're taking points off the board, but not necessarily putting their offense in a position to get points on the board. Huge opportunity here, right?
And inside the red zone for the first time, Gwen. Inside the 15. Fajardo facing more heat as he tries to get away. And that Argo defensive front has been very good all game against Fajardo as he is taken down. A second and long coming up.
Tries to step up and run. Robbie Smith as well, tracking him down from the backside.
Corey Mace, the Argo defensive coordinator. Defense in a spot right now after the interception by Stubblefield. Just inside the 15 and a big 2nd and 9 here for the Alouettes. Knocked away there by Winton McManus, intended for Austin Mack. So another big play for the Argo D to force a field goal situation in the Alouettes.
And McManus starts off here mugged up in the line of scrimmage. You're going to see him loop to the outside again. He's looking at the quarterback's eyes, anticipating when the ball's going to be thrown. And just a mammoth defensive series there provided by Winton McManus, one of the Argos. On that one, but back-to-back stops there for the Argo linebacker.
But thanks to the turnover, David Cote on to put it through. A flag comes out with that field goal, but if it's against Toronto, it does count, it'd be the first 2-score game we'd have. Now, would this penalty, if it's against the Argos, actually be enough to extend this Alouette drive to 3rd and 10?
We have a major foul, roughing on the center, Toronto number 2. We're going to go up half the distance. It's automatic first down for Montreal.
Calling. And that's a 1st and goal now for Montreal.
And Oakman lined up just to the left of the long snapper, Bourassa. And you'll see comes in and drives him. As soon as he snapped the ball, he rules that have been put into place to protect the long snapper who has his head down.
Chasing him down, Robbie Smith coming in. The heat still on Fajardo. 2nd down coming up.
Alouettes against an Argo team that has struggled today offensively, but we know can respond in a single play.
Well, time and again, this Argo defense has really been put in a difficult. And the Alouette offense finally does take advantage of the good
seriousness of this penalty is realized. Sneed sits down, just
down off a turnover. Just like at the start of this game, when it was the defense accounting for the 6 from Marc-Antoine Dequoy. The point after by Cote. Tyler Sneed. Has a big one there. Fist pump. The Alouettes increase their lead.
For Sean Oakman and the Toronto Argonauts after his unnecessary roughness penalty. Mosley extends that drive, which culminated in the Tyler Sneed touchdown.
Wow, the Alouettes have just made it. On a team that went 16-2 in the regular season. This is new territory in 2023 for Chad Kelly and the Boatmen.
Here we go.
9-0. Against the Alouettes at the end of the regular season a year ago. They're in tough right now. Third quarter and my goodness, this Al defensive front. Another big play at the line.
Yeah, Alouette rookie coming from the left side of that defensive line. First round pick out of Texas Christian, TCU. Edmonton native.
Four-man rush on Kelly. He has time. He's flushed out. Mustafa Johnson chasing him as he throws back against the green and picked off again. Darnell Sankey with his second committed by Toronto.
It's absolutely remarkable to watch. We've talked so many times this season about Toronto's ability to rebound from adversity. An answer.
Going to his left and then trying to throw back against the grain, and Sankey is there. Like Stubblefield before. Defense again in the Argo zone inside the Toronto 50. Fajardo. But Darius Pickett coming in. And Dwayne Hendricks too, and they get Fajardo. Big loss.
Looks to try and pick them up and generate a little momentum. You see Chad Kelly as he headed to the sideline after that last interception.
He has not faced anything like this season, to be sure. Way down to the 40, excuse me, not a first down, more than 10, but of course they had lost a lot of yardage. So that's the contribution of that big play to Mac to get some closer to some points.
Yeah. Certainly, as you said, regardless of being short of the first down.
It allows him this chance with Zima to put it down inside the 49. Cote's longest this season was 51. To put 3 more on the board after the turnover. Cote. Straight. And short. And Leak is bringing it out and slides down across the 15. So despite that gain that got them to within field goal range, a reprieve for Kelly and the Argonauts. The damage is still the same. It's 17-3. Trying to lead the comeback now. By that Alouette defense, pushing the Argos back.
The momentum just continues to grow for the Montreal Alouettes, led by their D.
Here we go. Hey, we're going Boston here. Rebel right, Bomber 65, Ontario. Coach, stay alive. On Boston, ready? Boston.
In so many of these situations, they're pick six from Montreal.
Unbelievable.
Kevion Ento. To an appearance in Grey Cup 110.
And this when you see Kelly.
Everybody back.
Three-man run. Holding on automatic. And he's in coverage out whacked as Chad Kelly was forced to hang on to the football. Kind of threw that one out to the sideline without being able to step into it.
I cannot recall a defense dominating a game all season long the way the Alouettes have been dominating this one. Second interception for a touchdown. Seventh turnover committed by the Argonauts. And far from over, yes, this is the CFL after time in the Canadian Football League. Second half especially, 1 for 5, -3. 3 interceptions, the most recent one going for another Montreal touchdown.
So he has thrown 5 passes. 3 of them have been picked off.
The latest, Kevion Ento in his first year out of Colorado.
This has been discussed as the one challenge for the Toronto Argonauts this season. You look at the depth all over the roster. Cameron Dukes is their backup quarterback. He's a rookie. Do you consider making the change? And might you be more inclined to make that change if you had a veteran backup?
It's a scenario we couldn't have even imagined talking about before this game. So back in the hands of Javon Lee. He is taken down up across the 35. Those interceptions, 2 of them going the other way, and that really set the tone for this game by Dubois.
Yeah, and the Argos came out on fire. Montreal unfazed came up with the big play there and just catching fire to start this second half. 3 interceptions in less than 10 minutes in this third quarter.
Heading down towards 5 minutes left in this third quarter. What a turn of events in quarter 3. 24-3 Montreal. Kelly throwing again. It's down low. Stubblefield there on the coverage. Brissett. Stubblefield, we saw that interception earlier in this quarter. 2nd and 10 coming up. The winner of this game goes to Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton next week for Grey Cup 110.
Oh, hey, we're going Miami. Rebel right 60, Mohawk, Z-Kai, backside smash, T-wide on Miami. Ready? Go! Green and team! Protect! Go! Blue team! Protect!
With time, running out of time. And he tries to dump it to A.J. Ouellette, and things are just off. As that one sails wide of Ouellette, and fans getting frustrated as well as the offense heads off and the punting unit will come on.
And the Argos with a huge crowd that was absolutely behind them when this thing started. Now they don't have that going in their favor either.
Finally taken down. A reminder that the NFL on TSN will continue Sunday morning live from Frankfurt, Germany, with the Colts and the Patriots, plus coverage continuing all afternoon, rolling into Sunday Night Football. Coverage begins at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific on TSN. Down to the Final Four in the CFL. Division final doubleheader today. The East final is all Montreal right now. Coming up, we'll head to Winnipeg for the BC Lions and the Blue Bombers, meeting for the second straight year to see who goes to the Grey Cup. Winnipeg trying to get to the Grey Cup for a fourth straight time. No team has done that since Edmonton in the early 80s. And the Argos were hoping for a chance to get back for a second time and defend their title, but my goodness, they have a lot of work cut out for them now. Montreal football leading by 21. William Stanback on the ground as he gets it up across the 25.
We look at the way that this football game has gone thus far. You think about conversation we had at the end of last week's semifinal. Sean Lemon made reference to it with Matthew Shinetti. The Alouettes had the thing that the Argos couldn't have, which is momentum. Coming into this, riding a 6-game win streak.
The 2nd and 6. Fajardo dumps it off, gets it to Stanback across the 30, and Stanback a first down for the Alouettes as he gets it across the 35 as Fajardo was slow getting up.
Well, you could hear a little groan from Cody. He takes a shot just as he delivers that football to his running back. Just in the nick of time as Stanback picks up the first down.
Under 3 minutes to go until three-quarter time. A quarter completely dominated by the Alouettes. Stanback turns it back.
Yeah, Alouettes slowing the pace of this thing down a little bit. Leading on Stanback in the ground game. In this particular possession. Maybe trying to take advantage of an Argo defense that isn't used to being out there so much with its own. Turning over the football, suffering 2 and outs, and so on.
Second and 8. Montreal from the 37. Fajardo takes off across the 40. First down. Slides near midfield. This offense is on the move now. Under 2 minutes to go till the end of the third quarter.
And the other element, you think about the Toronto defense in the last 6 weeks, where guys have been rolling in and out of the lineup, maybe not playing as many snaps as they usually would. Concept we usually talk about early in the season. The only way to be in game shape is to play games. And they don't have guys that have had to play a lot. Long series, long possessions, and a lot of snaps down the stretch.
From near midfield in a first down. Stanback stuffed up, and he turns around and backpedals, or Jeshrin Antwi, excuse me, in his third year of the Calgary Dinos. Antwi the ball carrier as he picks up about 3.
Yeah, after the previous play, Stanback signaled to the sideline for a break. Antwi comes on to spell him.
Two teams in the history of the Canadian Football League have won 16 games in a single season. The only other team to do it, Edmonton, in 1989. They went into the Western Final against Saskatchewan, the heavy favorite. They were upset by the Rough Riders, who went on to win the Grey Cup. Alouettes hoping history repeats itself. 2nd and 7. Deep look over the middle for Sneed, who has a touchdown earlier in this half, and that one falls incomplete. A third down coming up here for Montreal.
Well, they managed to gain a little bit in the field position battle, eat up some time on the clock. But it will be the punt team that comes out here for the Alouettes.
Joseph Zima. It's right again. He's done a very good job of placing these punts. That one's taken by Umber at the 20. Turning around, nowhere to go. taken down. So Chad Kelly coming back on. Let's go back to Matthew.
To say the Argos are shocked at what is happening right now would be an understatement. Over the last number of series, especially as Chad Kelly has kept throwing interceptions, his teammates have been coming over to him, trying to encourage him, from Ryan Dinwiddie to DeMonte Coxey, but maybe the most telling interaction just happened. Andrew Harris came over to him, covered in his jacket, covered his jacket over Chad Kelly's head, and kept whispering to him. Remember, it was Andrew Harris this season who had questions about Chad Kelly's leadership. If Chad Kelly wanted someone right now in this position, Andrew Harris is the best guy to have, guys.
Go!
And Matthew, here he is now, down 3 touchdowns, starting from their 21. Late third quarter, just seconds left in it. Completes it to Tavares Daniels to set up a second and short.
And a sarcastic cheer from the crowd.
Here we go, huddle.
Response to what has been a rare completion for the Argos in this half.
As bad as that first half was for Toronto, if you look at Michael Pinball Clements, their general manager, as bad as that first half was, they were down just 1 score. The third quarter has been an absolute disaster. And it's coming to an end, and Kelly takes off. First down, and he slides down with more with his biggest running play of this Eastern final. And that is quarter time. What a memorable for the Alouettes, their deep interceptions picked and taken into the end zone. Darnell Sankey, Reggie Stubblefield, 15 minutes away, looking for a trip to Grey Cup through 3 quarters, and it's absolutely stunning when you look at the turnovers to see an Argonaut team, which was the best in the CFL for not giving the ball away, suddenly turn into the worst. 7 times, just a 1 for the Alouettes.
Yeah, the Alouettes, again, they came into this game and they talked about the things that they knew they needed to do. And you just think, well, that's easier said than done. We got to win the turnover battle against the Toronto Argonauts. They're winning it in just dominating fashion, all over this Toronto Argonaut offense and Chad Kelly.
+6 in this game. They were second in the CFL behind the Argos, albeit a far way behind at +14. But +6 in this game alone for Jason Moss's Montreal Alouettes. Fourth quarter begins. Chad Kelly with the ball. Lots of time on the 3-man rush. Gets rid of it, and he completes it too. He finds an open receiver. That is Cam Phillips. Just his second catch of this game as he gets it inside the Montreal 45. And the Argos quickly moving up over the ball.
Yeah, stringing together a few successful plays in a row here for the first time in the second half.
Run, go ahead.
They work tempo, throwing right away. Completing that one inside the 40 as it goes right back to Cam Phillips, who missed much of the final third of the season with injury. Came back for the final game. Whistled in from the 37. AJ left. The big carry for 34 as he gets it down inside the 25, and another Argo first down.
Nice patience there from Ouellette right at the line of scrimmage. A little pause and reset before bouncing this one to the right. Argos changing up the pace of this football game.
Hey, no. Hey, rebel left. Good Kentucky. Hey, good Kentucky. Good Kentucky. Red, go ahead.
From the Montreal 25. Pressure comes. Kelly chooses to run again. He takes off. He gets it down close to the 15. Close to another Argo first down.
Well, you can hear Chad Kelly changing up the call at the line of scrimmage. Calls his own number here for a gain of 9.
Red, go ahead.
Third trip to the red zone for the Argo offense. Kelly with time. Looks to the end zone in coverage. Coming across was Ento. In coverage on Dejon Brissett, and Ento nearly had a chance for another interception.
A risky throw in the territory of the 2 guys that have victimized Kelly for pick 6s in this ball game. Ento and Marc-Antoine Dequoy patrolling that part of the field as well. But Ento, the one who gets a hand on it.
It is third down and short. Just inches away, Cameron Dukes, short yardage quarterback, who's had a couple of starts. for Kelly, and also appeared when he got hurt back in week 9 in Calgary. Duke's used to this situation as he takes it to the right and should have enough to keep this drive going.
And point out that when the Alouettes got 2 turnovers on downs on 3rd and short in the first half, it was Kelly, not Dukes, in the short yardage unit in the game. It was Kelly in the regular O that turned over the ball in those situations.
The Argos need a touchdown. No question about that. Down 21 points here in the 4th quarter. They have a first down and 10 now at the Alouette 14. Still have not scored a touchdown in this game. Kelly stands in calmly and then takes off and takes a hit from Darnell Sankey after picking up just a couple more yards. 2nd down and long. What an acquisition Sankey has been for the Alouettes.
Kelly get forced out of the pocket. It's fascinating to kind of listen to the crowd noise in this game, because you can hear that almost nervousness as you see Kelly start to scramble, knowing that those are the situations that have resulted in interception earlier in this ball game.
Richard Alouette, he is still down with 4th quarter Eastern final, and the Alouettes are in charge. IG Field, Zach Collaros and the Blue Bombers trying to get back to the Grey Cup for a 4th straight time. Standing in the way, Vernon Adams. The BC Lions, who won at IG Field back in week 3 with a great defensive performance. That's coming up. Finals day here on TSN. Chad Kelly, 2nd and 8. He keeps it down around the 5 as he is hit and falls down around the 5-yard line. Again, close to another first down, but it looks like he'll be just shy. Another short yardage situation coming up here for Toronto.
And Chad Kelly lying on his legs a little bit more here as this second half goes on. And learning from his mistakes, not wanting to be forced into a bad throw when he feels pressure in the pocket.
It is 3rd down. Ouellette. And instead of lining up in short yardage, more conventional running play for A.J. Ouellette, who looks like he has it.
He should be right around that 3-yard line. Here comes the measurement. From that overhead view, he looked like he would have it by about a foot.
They turned over the ball on downs twice. And they were close. They do get the first down. 1st and goal coming up here for Toronto.
Let's go!
.10:38, 4th quarter, 24-3 Alouettes. Argos still looking for their first touchdown. Whistle down before the play, tossed in for Brissett. The whistle blew before the snap of the ball.
Okay, Toronto snapped the ball before I whistled it in. So we're going to reset the play. We'll redo first down. There should be 10:38 on the clock. 10:38.
Argo fans letting Ben Major hear it. So the 1st and goal play yet to be run here. And Toronto needing a touchdown just to get close to getting back into it.
Let's go.
Long way to go in a short period of time to get there.
Red, go ahead.
First down. Ouellette, left side. Gets down close. Down around the 1.
Another big collision down there. Deontay Evans. Some difficulty down there after being attempting to make the tackle on Ouellette. Evans on the receiving end of friendly fire from his teammate Ento.
Getting some attention from the Alouette medical staff is make some changes. Avery Williams coming in. Some substitutions here down near the goal line for Montreal.
We'll get another look here at that collision between Ento and Evans. The Alouette halfback now back to his feet, headed to the sideline.
Deontay Evans was with Montreal in 2019, then in 21 and 22 with the Ticats. It is a 2nd and goal, Toronto. Cameron Dukes is in at quarterback. Right at the 1. Dukes keeps right side. End of the game in this East for the Toronto Argonauts.
Did a nice job with the formation. They had 10 men basically lined up across the front, which flattens the Alouettes out completely as they've got to defend every gap. Send a lead blocker around the edge. There's no one in behind to scrape and fill on the play. Dukes marches in easily.
Caps off a 13-play, 89-yard drive in just over 5 minutes of time. Barely over 10 minutes left in this 4th quarter. The Argos need a couple more touchdowns. The point after for Boris Beatty. Puts it through. 14-point game. Alouettes still comfortably in front. But the Argos have a better chance now at least getting the score. Cameron Dukes with it. 24-10, Montreal. Results in the first Argo touchdown.
Yeah, and the positive in this, aside from the obvious of the touchdown for the Toronto Argonauts, is seeming to find some consistency on offense, making some plays. Now the negative side, positive for Montreal, you forced them to take 13 plays. Toronto went tempo, so it didn't take up a ton of time off the clock, but nonetheless, if you're Montreal in terms of your game plan, you look at an Argo team where A.J. Ouellette leads the league in 20-plus yard runs, Tavares Daniels leads the league in 30-plus yard receptions, Javon Leake leads the league in punt return touchdowns.
Here's James Letcher, big return, Alouettes. He's done it before, he's doing it again.
And he's going to run the clock.
Taking his time to get into the end zone for an Alouette touchdown that immediately takes the momentum back from Montreal.
Just wow.
Celebration in the Alouette sideline. Right after the Argos had scored, the Boris Beatty kickoff, and James Letcher, a rookie, replacing Chandler Worthy, gets this kick return for a touchdown.
Letcher played 4 games at the end of the season after spending most of the year on the practice roster. In those 4 games, as you said, 2 punt return touchdowns. I was just talking about Javon Leake and his ability in the punt return game. Letcher actually had a higher punt return average this year than Leake did. 17 yards of punt return for Letcher to 15 for Leak. 2 kick return touchdowns in 4 games for Letcher. Now his 3rd in his 6th CFL contest.
He had a missed field goal return for a touchdown against Edmonton. In the regular season finale against Hamilton, he had a punt return TD, and this took a little while longer, as you talked about, Dwayne, killing some clock before waltzing in from the one. A 105-yard touchdown kickoff return for James Letcher, as the Alouettes get it right back. From Washburn University in Topeka, Kansas, Letcher and Byron Archambault, special teams coordinator. Loving that. And the dismay on the faces of Argo fans in a state of shock at what has happened today in this Eastern Final.
Disbelief from the audience here at BMO Field.
A 16-win team could be 9 minutes and 21 seconds away from being upset in this Eastern. Look at those numbers, 626 combined in his first 4 CFL games.
You figured they were going to need defense to come up big, even score. Here for the Alouettes thus far in the ball game.
And this isn't just about scoring now, it's about scoring quickly.
Yeah, and that's what I was alluding to on the last drive. When you're Montreal, and you know Toronto has all these people who can make big plays and take chunks of yardage right now. Montreal's avoided giving up the big play when the Argos scored an offensive touchdown. And if they're going to score, that's how they had to score. That's how you're okay with them scoring, so to speak. But
Quick
just
one
don't give up the big play.
A smaller one to Daniels, though, for a first down. And past the claw, and a touchdown for the Argos. So, yeah, they need about a couple more of those if they're going to have a chance in this game. But as said, not just the touchdown.
And this is exactly the guy you expected to see on the receiving end of it. Watch on the left side of your screen, you're going to see Daniels just gets left watches for 108 yards in last year's East Final. Comes up with the Argos' biggest passing play of this East Final.
3 plays, 65 yards, and just over a minute, and the time is as big a factor as the score at this point, as they do get back to within 2 touchdowns very quickly. Second straight Eastern Final, Tavares Daniels has scored a touchdown against Montreal. And Mike, I bet you're a James Letcher fan. Well, Letcher's back there again. He's just at the second longest kickoff return for a touchdown in playoff history in the CFL at 105. Tavares Daniels then comes back, answers with a touchdown for Toronto. So back to a 14-point difference, and Beattie will kick it off again. And it's a gets turned back, and he goes back inside the 20.
You see Sutton, the halfback, sees him coming. He anticipates someone else. Daniels off to the races as the Argos try to make a game of this.
First and 10, Cody Fajardo and the Montreal Alouettes with a 14-point lead halfway through the 4th quarter. That is complete to James Tuck. He bounces off the bar. McFadden, and he keeps going as Tuck
to play here today in front of friends and family. That's a big one for him.
Just shy of the first down, just inches away.
Easy.
Quarterback from Montreal.
I'm gonna let the clock run on here. It's gonna be Fib, Jack's left swap. Here's the preview. Fib, Jack's left swap, Y flow star, Nike C right. Okay. Yeah, you don't have to.
It is second down and inches. They do have a down to play with here. Nope. Now they're marking it a first down. They had a change here of marking the football, and so it is a first.
Here's the explanation.
Two North Snug Queens Rally, ugly 92
Well, there you go.
Why Shaq Z Mike W Lee, that's slice, even ready.
So Fajardo back on instead of Evans when they altered that and made it a 1st and 10 for Montreal. Give it to Stanback, and he picks up a couple up around the 35. And the Argo defense, which has been very good under the circumstances, desperately needing a stop.
Substitutions for the Montreal Alouettes offensively. Keeping big bodies in the game. James Tuck in a fullback to pick up those critical extra yards. Every minute that on the sidelines.
We'd like to welcome our viewers on TSN3 who've been watching the Jets and the Stars. Rod Smith. Jason Moss, the head coach of the Alouettes, incensed. His team is leading this Eastern Final over the Argos. 31. One at a time. Season as the underdog compared to the 16-2 Toronto Argonauts, who had clinched the East Division a full 2 months ago. Their last meaningful game in the standings came against the Alouettes in Montreal. Fajardo keeps it, and he gets it up near midfield, and he pays the price too. So he takes a hit and goes.
Timeout for Toronto. Please reset the clock to 5:11. 5:11.
And obviously two very important Argo defenders. You saw as they both converged on Fajardo. McManus coming from the backside looked like his head. It caught the lower body of Jamal Peters. Peters' backside and hip, forcing McManus's head and neck to flex awkwardly here.
But it was Jordan Williams with the hit, Backer.
And now the Argos took a timeout. Not sure if that would allow those defenders to stay in the game, as McManus was able to jog off eventually.
And as we wait, just with in 1989, the only other 16-win team, Edmonton, lost to Saskatchewan in the Western Final. The Argos made history this year, joining Edmonton in that win department, but still down 2 touchdowns. Barely 5 minutes to go, and good to see Jamal Peters is up and heading off on his own.
So in the shuffling of personnel for the Toronto Argonauts, we'll see Quantez Stiggers will move from field corner to Peters' spot. On the stretch will come in at that spot.
And one thing,
Jonathan Jones in at linebacker for McManus.
Sorry, Dwayne, I was going to say one thing Ryan Dinwiddie has been doing in these past 6. Some injuries. Robertson Daniel still not able to play in this game, still hurt, but at least to your point, someone like Jamie Harry has ended up getting a lot of playing experience.
Yeah, absolutely. The depth that they've built through the organization.
It is 2nd and 2 with Williams stand back left side, and he knifes his way through. It's close. See where they spot the football as he gets near that first down marker, and a 3rd down possibly coming.
Stand back again, attack, able to get north-south at the end.
They're going to bring the sticks in. It is very, very close. If they didn't get it, it'd be inches shy. Caleb Evans is already on the field for the Alouettes. Under 5 minutes to go. The clock working against the home side now. The tone was set in this game early with a big defensive play for the Alouettes. Just as the Argos were pressing for the first points inside the 10, an interception for a touchdown by Marc-Antoine Dequoy. And Montreal, especially their defense, has not looked back. Defense and special teams, with the Letcher return for the touchdown too to diffuse Toronto momentum. Big defining points for this Alouette team. Third down, 6 inches to go. Caleb Evans in, just inside the Argo zone. He keeps it, a flag comes out. Pending the flag, Evans easily has enough for the first down. And Fajardo heads back on.
The Toronto defensive line was offside. It's a 5-yard penalty, makes it a first down for Montreal.
So 5 yards further up in Argo territory.
And more importantly, it's maintaining possession of the football. An opportunity to keep the clock running. Limit the Argos' opportunity to score in this ball game. Game in which Montreal has put up 31 points with only 1 offensive touchdown.
Remarkable. 2 interceptions for touchdowns by their defense. 7 takeaways. Tyson Philpott cuts it back and gets down to around the Toronto 40. And a 2nd down and short is coming up. Up next, Lions Blue Bombers Western Final, IG Field in Winnipeg.
Monster 2-back, Monster 2-back. 3-9.
Jason Moss, in his first experience as a CFL coach, of course he was a longtime quarterback. He went to the Grey Cup with the Toronto Argonauts back in 2012. Along the way, they upset the Alouettes in Montreal in that 2012 Eastern Final. He was on the other side, but looking to make an appearance in the Grey Cup for the first time as a head coach. He had 4 years as head coach with Edmonton. 2nd and 3. Williams stand back. Flags out as more than enough for the first down near the Argo 30.
Yeah, this was the kind of run that suggests a little bit of fatigue.
Offside, Montreal, number 81. We'll go back 5 yards. We'll replay 2nd down.
Nonetheless, looks like some fatigue from the Toronto defense. Boston Mack out of the slot towards the top of your screen. Just a hair early.
So 5 further back, a 2nd and long now for the Alouettes. Clock ticking down to the 3-minute warning. Leading by 2 touchdowns. Looking to complete what would be a big upset here in the East Final. Fajardo airs it out. Down the right for Mack. Coverage is there. Closest to it, Mason Pierce, and Fajardo knocked down. Gets to his feet again. So incomplete. 3rd down coming up with the 3-minute warning being issued here at BMO Field. The Montreal Alouettes closing in on their first appearance in the Grey Cup in 13 years. Still, they have to close it out.
Coming up next, the big question is, will Nick Dempsey play? No shoulder pads here, or Rashid Bailey? We will find out. That's coming up after the Alouettes and Argonauts.
And Kate, that look says it all for the usually smiling Michael Pinball Clemens, who's had so much to smile about the way his team has performed this year, but not today, not at this point. 31-17, under 3 minutes to go, and good coverage. Ooh, Javon Leake does get up, but still is taken down. Shot 20. An outstanding defense on the day. Is time now for Tackle Your Thirst, presented by Twisted Tea. 2nd straight time we give it to Sean Lemon for this big turnover forced.
Yeah, absolutely massive. The Toronto Argonauts had just taken possession of the football on an interception late in that first half. Very next play, Sean Lemon comes up with the sack and strip, putting the ball back in the Alouettes' possession and snuffing out the threat.
Tackling Your Thirst, presented by Twisted Tea, with a little bit of lemon. Once again. Understand Royce Mechie getting a penalty. The Argos, Toronto football, after the return by Leake.
After the play, we have a misconduct against Toronto, number 9. We'll go back half the distance. It's going to be 1st down for Toronto. It's a 15-yard misconduct.
Never a good time for a penalty, but especially now that puts them even closer to their goal lines. They'll start this possession at the 9.
Well, a couple of costly penalties in this first half. There's Mechie in a bit of a wrestling match.
In there with Jake Hardy. Penalized for that. David Unger. He catches and he is greeted right away by Deontay Ruffin.
Argos forced into tempo here.
And they work it to Roulette. Has to reach and juggle for the ball a bit. And Reggie Stubblefield, what a game he's had, converging to make sure they don't get the first down. In fact, it's a loss of a yard or two as they have to stay in. 3 down football now. 3rd down and long from their 13. 2:22 on the clock and a 3-man rush. They drop back. Oh, nearly picked again. A defender coming in across and in front of Tavares Daniels, and that's it. Turnover number 8 committed by the Argos in a situation where they had to go for it. And the Montreal Alouettes are closing in on an appearance in the Grey Cup next week in Hamilton.
Throwing down the seam, looking for Daniels. Alouettes well positioned on the play. Dequoy getting a hand on it. Sutton with the hit. Alouettes taking over the football deep in Argo territory.
That look says it all for Ryan Dinwiddie and what's been in so many ways a remarkable season, but they knew it's how you finish. That's what matters most, and it's not going their way today. You can feel the celebration, see signs of it on the Alouette sideline now. 2:16 in the clock, a 2-touchdown lead, and a chance for more points now. William Stanback, Jeshurun Antwi again. Antwi the ball carrier. He gets it down closer to the 15.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are going to look at this and talk about the Argos having not played meaningful games down the stretch and so on. But one of the points I want to make here is let's give a whole load of credit to the Montreal Alouettes. Yeah. The Argos were still 5-1 in the last third of the season. They weren't mailing it in.
Burn, Rolls-Royce, okay?
And that one loss in Winnipeg, when Cameron Duke started, they led that game through much of the way. So, no, you're right. This has just been a brilliant performance by the Alouette defense. 2nd and 9, Antwi again, right side, room inside the 5, touchdown. Icing on the cake for an Alouette team that's about to clinch a spot in Grey Cup 110. How about the Montreal Alouettes?
Big team on the field. No surprise what they're doing, running the football. Antwi, great job. He's aware of the sideline as well because he wants to make sure he stays in bounds, keeps that clock going even if he gets stopped. But able to find his way to the end zone back-to-back weeks. The former Calgary Dinos, Hardy and Antwi. With some big closing touchdowns for these Montreal Alouettes.
Oh, you know Cody Fajardo can feel it, and his head coach Jason Moss. After a difficult year last year in Saskatchewan, coming over from Montreal, they can taste it now. It's a 20-point lead, made 21 on that conversion by Cote. Touchdown. 16 wins, a record in the CFL. The Argos matching Edmonton from 1989. Here's how the numbers stacked out. True dominance, big favorites in the division finals. And like Edmonton in 89, remember this, the 9-9 Saskatchewan Roughriders. David Albright picks up that fumble by Tracy Ham, takes it in for a touchdown in the first half, a sign of things to come. Tom Burgess to Ray Elgard. Burgess again, and remember they had Ken Austin. Two good quarterbacks, and that's Jeff Fairholm with the touchdown. And the 9-9 Riders completed the upset when they weren't given a chance in that game in Edmonton. 16-2, Edmonton loses at home after that record season. And a lot of that look now, David Ungerer with his head in his hands, wondering what might have been and what it truly was a remarkable season. And Andrew Harris, is this it for him? He's pretty much said so. Didn't completely rule out a return, but had said before about 98% that Hall of Fame career is coming to an end. And Chad Kelly, remarkable regular season. But when it mattered most, he had his worst day in the Canadian Football League. Brandon Calvert on the return. Cody Fajardo, who went to a Grey Cup with the Argos as a backup quarterback to Ricky Ray, scored the winning touchdown back in 2017 against the Riders. But moved on and became a starter with Saskatchewan, and said it was a tough exit for him. You know how much he's savoring this moment to get to a Grey Cup after the way it ended with the Riders being benched for their final couple of games.
15-yard misconduct penalty. Toronto number 45 will go back 15 yards. It's going to be first down.
Well, you talk about that connection between quarterback Cody Fajardo and his head coach Jason Moss, moving here together essentially, moving to Montreal from Saskatchewan, where Moss had been the offensive coordinator. But there's that Ricky Ray connection. Both winning Grey Cups as backups to Ricky Ray at opposite ends of Ray's career.
For Moss back in the early Edmonton days when Ray was their quarterback, winning in 03 and again in 05, and yes, 2017, Ray with the Argos and Fajardo was there. Chad Kelly taking off on a day to forget as he slides up close to midfield, a minute and a half to go, but a comfortable 38-17 lead for the Alouettes, who are going to be taking a trip down the QEW, Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton, a week from tomorrow. Grey Cup 110 against either the Winnipeg Blue Bombers or the BC Lions. That is still to be determined. A.J. Alouette pushed out of bounds by Tyrese Beverette. And by the way, Montreal has played BC in the Grey Cup before, back in 2000, and again in 2006. The Lions won both of those. But this is what amazes me, Dwayne. In the long histories of the Alouettes and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, they have never met in the Grey Cup.
Remarkable.
One of two possibilities now, with the Alouettes closing in on winning the East. Kelly completes it. And the Alouettes will give them that all day long. Dejan Brissett thrown down by Reggie Stubblefield. Part of this defensive onslaught that has forced 8 turnovers. And give that man credit, Danny Machocha. In this East Final, he was a reluctant head coach a year ago. He didn't want to be a coach again, but stepped in to do it. But as a general manager, Kelly with time and completing to the lad as the Alouettes just back off. He's pushed out of bounds, Beverette. But consider, we talked about this last week, the uncertainty of the ownership, where free agents didn't want to go to Montreal, and they had to make some adjustments once the season got going, and the general manager, Machocha, certainly did pick up some very good players.
Yeah, a fantastic job, and he was fortunate to have drafted very well. You look at some of the young guys having impacts. Tyson Philpott with a big day today. Luol Uguak, who's made some big plays for them. Of course, Marc-Antoine Dequoy.
Team, attack!
Just a minute to go. Kelly, deep look into the end zone, bobbled and dropped. Intended there for Cam Phillips with Marc-Antoine Dequoy in coverage.
But, yeah, you alluded to moves made during the season because the Alouettes weren't really in a position to make those impactful signings in the offseason. They lost a guy like Darius Pickett in part because of that uncertainty, and during free agency they're able to a third season pick up Sean Lemon, 2/3 of the way into the season pick up Darnell Sankey, and look at what those two veterans have done for this defense through 2 playoff games. It's been
second down under a minute. Coming in is Stubblefield again. He's had an eye for the ball. He was looking for another pick there to take it away from Dejan Brissett. But yeah, that's another one of those first-year Alouettes on defense.
Young guys.
Yeah, young guys that have made such a contribution.
Couldn't sign a veteran, but the rookie free agent, Reggie Stubblefield, making as significant an impact as any.
Go!
51 seconds. And then the Alouettes are Hamilton bound. Intercepted? No. Deontay Ruffin. Oh, what a fitting way it would have been to put a bow on this game, but nonetheless. That's it anyway. Ruffin had a chance for the pick, but it is still a turnover on downs.
Yeah, overthrow looking for Unger out in the flat. The Alouettes look to run down the clock on this impressive East Final victory.
As we count down those seconds, I just want to give a big shout out. We listened to Cody Fajardo.
We're going down. Victory, victory. Ready? Victory, 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 victory.
To our Eastern broadcast crew, producer Chris Edwards, director Franklin Rubenstein, all the talented people that bring you the sights and sounds. Thanks for another great season. And you, my friend, another great year. Looking forward to next year already as we look ahead to the Grey Cup next week.
Always a pleasure, Mr. Smith.
Not the way the Argos saw it playing out. That script was different today, wasn't it? Victory, victory, says Cody Fajardo. As history is about to repeat itself, just like 1989, the team that finished 16-2 is knocked out in the division final. And oh, what a contribution from Noel Thorpe's defense for Jason Moss's team as those final seconds wind down. Then the bucket for Moss in the celebration with one final play to come. Well, Montreal has found a way to stop the Argonaut juggernaut. And with that, the Alouettes are heading